This is Professor of Medicine, Desiree Dubonnet, the man who left America to find freedom, who's no longer a man. Today I'm going to be outlining something very, very powerful, the new form of medicine. Very, very exciting. New form of medicine, intention medicine. All medicine is intention. Those who are proficient at using intention will be good doctors.
If I focus really hard, do my powers of quantum mechanics allow me to manifest reality? No.
We now know from quantum theory that we cannot manifest, create, or control the reality around us, but we can affect the reality around us. Not only can we affect the reality around us, but we also are in complete control of our interpretation of the reality around us. We can interpret what is happening.
Niels Bohr insisted that it was meaningless to assign reality to the universe in the absence of observation. In the intervals between measurements, quantum systems truly exist as a fuzzy mixture of all possible properties, what we call a superposition of states. Schrödinger, in his 1958 lectures Mind and Matter, states that consciousness is needed to make physical reality meaningful. With the greats of quantum physics inclined to speak in these mystical terms, it's not surprising that the ideas stuck around.
At first, it appeared that we created our reality by our observation of it. But now we know that there is a reality that exists outside, and we interpret it, but we also can't affect it. Our minds can affect the reality, but not in 100% control. We do not manifest or create it.
And yet, the most confident claims about quantum mechanics seem to be the mystical ones. They tend to be made by people who have never studied the theory deeply, but nonetheless have great surety in cherry-picking and misinterpreting the early speculations of some of its founders. Those founders did question the role of consciousness and the connection between subjective and objective reality, and they were right to do so. The weird behavior of the quantum world demanded the courageous and open-minded speculation that characterizes a great scientist. But the other quality of a great scientist is openness to changing your mind. And most of them did change their minds, veering away from the idea of a direct causal role of consciousness.
One camp had the idea, like Einstein did, that there was a realistic, concrete universe that we were part of, that we observed. And the other side said that no, we created this. But actuality, now we find out that both of these are true to a certain extent, but neither completely true. And now we can understand more by accepting the blend of these two contrary ideas.
In Heisenberg's later writing, he states that the wave-function collapse must be a continuous process between the measurement device and the conscious mind, and definitely not a sudden event caused by the latter. Wigner too, he switched camps and spoke against the notion of the primary role of consciousness. He denied what he called the solipsistic view that the mind is foremost, that consciousness generates the universe.
So in Janusian fashion, seeing both sides of the coin, that there was indeed a realistic universe that the mind could affect. But consciousness is not absolute primary creating the universe, but it is primary in interpreting the universe. And it can definitely affect the universe. We do have subtle control over things. We can maneuver things. We can make the world a better place.
In between observations, the wave function describing this superposition is a complete description of reality, and our experience of a well-defined material universe only has meaning at the moment of measurement.
Our observation of the universe makes the universe visible as we start to then see and experience. These experiences have an effect on the reality. And then we interpret, through our own context and through our own background, we interpret our reality. We 100% interpret things, but we do not 100% create things. Things will happen, and we can help to affect them in subtle ways. And with more and more practice, we can make them even more effective. We can build our abilities.
What is it about The Secret that made everything move so fast? It was the concept, the one concept. It was called the law of attraction. Do you know that you are a molecular structure? Your brain is an electronic switching station. Activate brain cells and you alter the vibration you're in. This whole universe operates by law, and one of the laws is the law of vibration. The vibration you're in is going to dictate what you attract.
But is this a law? Is it the law of attraction, the law of vibration? These people don't quite seem to understand. You see, physical laws play a crucial role in science, and they're considered as fundamental. Many laws of physics are built after years and years of research to really study and to make the assumption that the laws, such as the law of gravity, you drop an object, it falls. Okay, this is a law. It's not a maybe sometimes. Like, it's a basic law that 99.9999% of the time, the objects will attract. The law about the reaction and the speed of a moving fluid, this is what allows the airplanes to fly, and they fly. It's a law. It's repeatable. It's observable. The law of gas and pressure about the volume has a distinct law about it that we can understand from the levels of science. The force between electric charges allows us to understand and develop electrical items. These are scientific laws, well established and tested. Now, when you get to the laws of physics, this is the bottom line. A law in physics is determined by how well you can predict future events. Not how well you look back in hindsight, but how well you can look forward and predict future events. They say that somebody deserved to be hit by the golf ball. If that was the case, would we be able to predict who it is?
Guess what, folks?
That got hit?
No, somebody...
If you had a science, and it was the law of attraction, the person who needed to be hit would be hit. And you would be able to predict it in the future, not in hindsight.
I think there's a cameraman almost in his line.
I think
he might have got hit.
I think he called it. Obviously went left. It sounded like
in
it.
hindsight. They're going to say that this person deserved to have this happen. Is that the case? Did she deserve that? Is the person who's out there about to be hit by the golf ball, did they deserve this? Is that the world that we want to live in? No, it's not a law of attraction. There's an effect. Did this girl deserve this? Or did maybe just shit happen? Do we want to go through and tell all of our patients that what happened to them, they brought on, that the person who was hit by this golf ball
it went up and down
deserved
these
that?
trees just right of the fairway.
Here's the golf balls that the
Literally
guy's
fell
pocket.
straight into the pocket of a spectator that was actually
Very
trying to get out of the
interesting.
way.
Could we have predicted
And
that?
believe it or not,
No.
it's still in his pocket right now.
Could we have said he deserved it? Which of these people deserved?
Oh my God.
No.
Oh
Did
my
they
God.
all
Oh my
deserve
God.
it?
Oh my God.
If it is truly a law of attraction, we would be able to predict
If your head was a touch softer, I'd be in the fairway.
what was going to happen. We would be able to see into the future, not by just hindsight.
With the Ramons
But
among
that is
thousands
not the
lining the
case.
fairway for this Brooks Koepka shot,
We can't
few
just
could have foreseen what was to
predict.
follow.
So it's not
Suddenly,
quite a law. There is an effect.
I feel something
There is definitely
on
an
me.
effect. And yes, maybe that person celebrated a little too early and the other person deserved it. But which of these people deserves to win the gold medal in speed skating? Which of these people? If there was a law, we wouldn't need to do the race. We would just know ahead of time. Out of the 35 people who started and tried to get into it, Here, this person come in second in one of the preliminary heats, allowed him to get into the semifinals. We're in the semifinals. Here again, an accident happens that allows him to get into the final. And here we have the final. Who's going to win? Is it who deserves it more, who practiced more? The one with the most positivity? The one with the most negativity? Or maybe we just don't know.
Maybe we just don't know.
Because, look what happens. 2 laps to go.
The result happens in the moment, and we don't know what it will be.
There is no law. Here what happens is a couple of people go down, and the last place guy wins the gold medal.
Unexpectedly, because of an accident.
Are these accidents happening because they deserve it, or is it just happenstance? Did she deserve that? Did she make that football hit her in the head? Is this happening because she deserves it or wants it?
It happens because of nature.
We have to recognize it is not a law. If there was a law, we would know which of these firemen is going to be hurt, or if any of them. If it was a law.
Nature is a law, but is constantly changing, so we just don't know.
The big secret is that there is not a law of attraction. There is an effect of attraction. And that sometimes we just don't know. We have to realize that we live in a world where we are all conjoined. We're all together. A world of quantum entanglement, quantum entwinement. All things at one level are still one.
Particles interact briefly, they influence each other so that their properties are somehow connected, and yet we refrain from measuring these properties to preserve quantum uncertainty. Quantum mechanics requires that we describe the particle pair with a single combined wave function that encompasses all possible states for both particles. We call such particles an entangled pair.
Albert Einstein was, there's no other word for it, a genius. He came to the idea that 2 particles can be entangled and an effect on one could be instantaneously felt by the other, even over vast distances. Well, for Einstein, that was simply unbelievable. He dubbed it spooky action at a distance and went to his grave a skeptic. But since then, quantum entanglement has been demonstrated time and again, and now, for the first time ever, we've taken a picture of it.
Scientists the world over have now embraced quantum entwinement, quantum entanglement, and they realize that this is a firm way that the world does exist.
According to the Copenhagen interpretation, any measurement of one particle automatically collapses the entire entangled wave function and so affects the results of measurements of the other particle. That's an influence that could, theoretically, be transmitted instantly across any distance, and even back in time, violating locality and possibly violating causality.
We didn't create all the different galaxies, all the stars. We didn't create them with our minds. They're part of a creation that already existed, but we interpret them as we experience them, as we observe them. They come into our observation, and then we interpret their existence. But now we recognize that there is an ability through time, through space, for us to not cause things, but to affect things. And we can affect our health. And we need to now look at placebo medicine. Is placebo medicine just an ability to suggest or believe, or is there an ability of the placebo to be able to affect things, to qualitatively change our bodies?
Our mind is a very powerful tool, but
that's right, Rita.
There are outer effects, environmental causes, weather, bad luck,
good luck,
other people's energies, other people's accomplishments, which can easily affect what happens to us. It is not all our responsibility.